A wild dog became the savior of a desperate climber stuck on a perilous cliff. The granite face of El Capitan, a monolith rising majestically from the heart of Yosemite Valley, gleamed in the morning sun, its sheer cliffs a challenge to the most seasoned climbers. Mark, his eyes tracing the intricate network of cracks and crevices that marked the route ahead, felt a surge of adrenaline, a familiar mix of excitement and apprehension that always accompanied the start of a challenging climb. He was a man of the mountains, his spirit as rugged and unyielding as the granite peaks that had captivated his soul since childhood. He had spent his life scaling the heights, his body a testament to the strength and agility honed through years of dedicated training, his mind a map of conquered summits and uncharted territories. Yosemite, with its iconic cliffs and breathtaking vistas, was his sanctuary, a place where he could push his limits, test his resilience, and find solace in the solitude of the wilderness. He had conquered many of its challenging routes, his name etched in the annals of climbing lore, his reputation as a skilled and fearless climber preceding him. But El Capitan, the monolith that had captivated his imagination since his first glimpse of its imposing presence, remained an unconquered challenge, its sheer face a daunting test of his abilities, its summit a beacon that beckoned him to conquer its heights. He had prepared meticulously for this climb, his body honed to peak fitness, his equipment carefully chosen and meticulously inspected, his mind focused on the intricate details of the route, his spirit filled with a quiet determination to conquer the challenge that lay before him. He began his ascent, his movements fluid and precise, his hands finding purchase on the granite, his feet seeking out the subtle footholds, his body a symphony of strength and grace against the backdrop of the majestic cliff. The sun beat down on his back, its warmth a reminder of the life teeming below, the valley floor a distant tapestry of green meadows and winding rivers. The wind whipped at his face, its whispers carrying the scent of pine and the distant roar of waterfalls, a symphony of nature that echoed his own adventurous spirit. He climbed with a focused intensity, his mind attuned to the rhythm of his movements, his senses alert to the subtle nuances of the rock face, his every action a testament to his years of experience and his unwavering dedication to the art of climbing. He felt a sense of freedom, a liberation from the constraints of everyday life, a connection to the raw power of nature that resonated with his own untamed spirit. He was a man at one with the mountain, his ascent a dance between human resilience and the unyielding strength of the granite. But as he climbed higher, the challenges intensified, the rock face becoming steeper, the handholds more precarious, the exposure to the sheer drop below a constant reminder of the risks he faced. He knew that El Capitan was a formidable adversary, its unforgiving nature a test of his skills and his courage. And as the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the valley, a sudden shift in the rock beneath his feet sent a shiver of apprehension through him, a premonition of danger that would soon test the limits of his resilience and his unwavering spirit. The rock, loosened by the relentless forces of nature and the passage of time, crumbled beneath Mark's weight. His fingers, gripping the granite with the strength honed from years of climbing, scrabbled for purchase, but the hold gave way, sending him tumbling into the void. A cry escaped his lips, a primal scream swallowed by the vastness of the valley below. His body, a projectile against the backdrop of the majestic cliff, twisted and turned in the air, his mind a blur of disbelief and a desperate struggle for control. He glimpsed the valley floor rushing towards him, the trees a distant blur of green, the river a silver ribbon snaking through the landscape, its roar a distant echo in the chaos of his fall. He slammed against the cliff face, the impact jarring his bones, the pain shooting through his body like a lightning bolt. He slid down the unforgiving granite, his hands scrabbling for purchase, his legs flailing, his descent a desperate dance with gravity. Then, with a jarring thud that knocked the wind from his lungs, he came to a halt on a narrow ledge, his body wedged precariously between the unforgiving rock and the sheer drop below. He lay there for a moment, his breath ragged, his heart pounding, his mind reeling from the suddenness of his fall and the shock of impact. Slowly, the pain began to register, a searing sensation in his left leg, a throbbing ache in his ribs. He gingerly explored his injured leg, his fingers tracing the unnatural angle of his ankle, his face contorting with a grimace as he confirmed his fears. A broken ankle, his mobility compromised, his escape from this precarious perch now a daunting challenge. He looked up, the sheer face of El Capitan towering above him, its imposing presence now a mocking reminder of his ambition and his vulnerability. He looked down, the valley floor a dizzying expanse of green and brown, the river a silver thread snaking through the landscape, its distant roar a testament to the power of nature and the fragility of human life. A wave of despair washed over him, the isolation of his predicament amplified by the vastness of the wilderness. He thought of his family, his friends, the life he had built, the dreams he had yet to fulfill. He wondered if anyone would find him, if anyone would even know he was missing. But amidst the fear and despair, a spark of resilience ignited within him. He was a survivor, a man who had faced challenges and overcome adversity. He wouldn't succumb to panic. He would find a way out of this predicament. He would survive. He took a deep breath, focusing on the rhythm of his breathing, calming the frantic beating of his heart. He assessed his situation, his injuries, his dwindling supplies, his options. He knew he had to stay calm, to conserve his energy, to find a way to signal for help. He reached into his backpack, his fingers fumbling for his emergency kit, his mind racing with possibilities. He found his first aid kit, a beacon of hope in his desperate situation. He cleaned and bandaged his wounds, his face contorting with pain but his determination unwavering. He then took out his emergency whistle. Its shrill sound a desperate plea for help, its echoes carrying his message of distress across the vast expanse of the wilderness. He blew the whistle repeatedly, its piercing sound a beacon of hope in the face of his isolation. But as the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the valley, and the echoes of his whistle faded into the silence of the approaching night, a sense of despair settled over him. He was alone, his fate uncertain, his survival dependent on a miracle, an unexpected intervention from a world beyond his precarious perch. The night draped the valley in an inky blackness, the stars twinkling like diamonds scattered across the vast canvas of the sky. Mark, his body shivering with cold, his mind plagued by anxieties, huddled against the rock face, seeking a meager respite from the biting wind. He had rationed his water and energy bars, his dwindling supplies a stark reminder of his precarious situation. He had tried to signal for help, his voice hoarse from shouting, his whistle a faint echo in the vastness of the wilderness. But his efforts had been met with silence, the only response the mournful cry of an owl or the distant howl of a coyote. He felt a wave of despair wash over him, the isolation of his predicament amplified by the darkness and the silence. He thought of his family, his friends, the life he had left behind, the dreams he had yet to fulfill. He wondered if he would ever see the sunrise again, if he would ever feel the warmth of human touch, if he would ever escape this perilous perch. But amidst the fear and despair, a spark of resilience flickered within him. He wouldn't succumb to panic. He wouldn't give up. He would fight for survival, cling to hope, and await the dawn with a renewed determination. As he drifted in and out of a restless sleep, a sound pierced the silence, a soft whimper that carried a hint of curiosity and caution. Mark, his senses heightened by his isolation, turned towards the source of the sound, his heart pounding with a mix of apprehension and hope. A figure emerged from the shadows, its form gradually taking shape in the faint moonlight. It was a dog, a medium-sized Australian Shepherd mix, its coat a patchwork of brown, black, and white, its eyes a deep, intelligent amber. It approached cautiously, its movements hesitant, its tail wagging tentatively, its demeanor a mix of curiosity and wariness. Mark, his initial fear giving way to a surge of relief, reached out a hand, his voice a soft whisper in the stillness. "Hello there," he said, his voice raspy from disuse. "Are you friendly?" The dog, as if sensing his vulnerability, responded with a soft whine, its tail wagging more confidently now. It approached closer, sniffing his outstretched hand, its warm breath tickling his skin. Mark, his heart filled with a newfound hope, gently stroked the dog's head. His touch met with a soft nuzzle and a gentle lick on his hand. He felt a connection, an unspoken understanding with this creature that had emerged from the wilderness, a companion in his time of need. He couldn't imagine how the dog had found him, how it had navigated the treacherous cliffs to reach his isolated ledge. But he was grateful for its presence, its warmth a comfort against the cold, its companionship a balm to his loneliness. He named the dog Rusty, a fitting name for the dog with the reddish-brown patches on its coat, a symbol of resilience and survival in the face of the harsh elements. Rusty, his tail wagging with a newfound enthusiasm, settled beside Mark, his presence a comforting warmth against the lingering chill of the night. Mark, his spirits lifted by the unexpected companionship, felt a renewed sense of determination. He was no longer alone. He had Rusty by his side, his presence a beacon of hope in the vast wilderness. Together, they would face the challenges ahead, their survival dependent on their combined resilience, their bond a testament to the enduring power of connection in the face of adversity. Dawn broke, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, casting a warm glow on the majestic cliffs of El Capitan. Mark, his body stiff and sore from his fall, awoke to the sight of Rusty curled up beside him, his fur ruffled by the morning breeze, his soft snores a comforting symphony in the stillness. He looked at the dog, his heart filled with gratitude for the unexpected companionship. He had survived the night, his spirits lifted by Rusty's presence, his hope rekindled by the warmth of their connection. He carefully assessed his situation, his gaze sweeping across the breathtaking panorama that unfolded before him. The valley, bathed in the golden light of the rising sun, stretched out below, a tapestry of green meadows, winding rivers, and towering granite peaks. But the beauty of the landscape was a stark contrast to the harsh reality of his predicament. He was stranded, injured, and alone on a narrow ledge, hundreds of feet above the valley floor. His supplies were dwindling, his options limited, his fate uncertain. He examined his injured leg, the pain a constant reminder of his vulnerability. He knew he couldn't climb down on his own, the treacherous terrain and his compromised mobility a recipe for disaster. He had to wait for rescue, to hope that someone would see him, hear his cries for help, and come to his aid. But as the hours passed, and the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting its relentless heat upon the exposed ledge, his hope began to dwindle. The silence of the wilderness, broken only by the occasional cry of a hawk or the distant rumble of a waterfall, amplified his isolation. He rationed his remaining water and food, his meager supplies a stark reminder of his precarious situation. He tried to signal for help, waving his arms, shouting until his voice was hoarse, but his efforts were met with silence, his cries swallowed by the vastness of the valley. He felt a wave of despair wash over him, the loneliness of his predicament amplified by the grandeur of the surrounding landscape. He thought of his family, his friends, the life he had left behind, the dreams he had yet to fulfill. He wondered if he would ever see them again, if he would ever escape this perilous perch. But amidst the fear and despair, a spark of resilience flickered within him. He wouldn't succumb to panic. He wouldn't give up. He would fight for survival, cling to hope, and await rescue with a renewed determination. He looked at Rusty, his loyal companion, his furry guardian angel. The dog, sensing his emotions, nuzzled against him, his warm fur a comfort against the cold rock, his presence a reminder that he was not alone. "We'll get through this, Rusty," Mark whispered, his voice hoarse but filled with a newfound determination. "We'll find a way." And as the sun reached its zenith, casting its relentless heat upon the exposed ledge, their bond a beacon of hope in the face of adversity. They settled into a rhythm of survival, their shared struggle a testament to the enduring power of connection in the vast wilderness of Yosemite. Days blurred into a relentless cycle of sun, thirst, and dwindling hope. Mark, his body weakened by his injuries and the lack of sustenance, clung to life with a grim determination. He shared his meager rations with Rusty, their bond deepening with each shared sip of water, each morsel of food a testament to their shared struggle for survival. He spent his days scanning the horizon, his eyes searching for any sign of rescue, his hopes rising with each passing helicopter or distant hiker, only to be dashed as they disappeared from view, oblivious to his plight. He would talk to Rusty, his voice hoarse but comforting, sharing stories of his past climbs, his adventures in the wilderness, his love for the mountains that now held him captive. Rusty, his intelligent eyes reflecting the vastness of the sky, would listen intently, his presence a steady anchor in the turbulent sea of Mark's emotions. He would explore the confines of their ledge, his movements limited by his injured leg, his frustration growing with each failed attempt to find a way down. He would examine the rock face, his eyes tracing the cracks and crevices, searching for a possible route, a hidden path that might lead them to safety. But the cliff, a sheer and unforgiving wall of granite, offered no escape. He felt a wave of despair wash over him, the hopelessness of his situation amplified by the relentless sun and the gnawing hunger that gnawed at his stomach. Rusty, sensing his despair, would nudge his hand with his wet nose, his amber eyes filled with a comforting warmth. Mark, his heart touched by the dog's unwavering loyalty, would stroke his fur, his touch a silent conversation of gratitude and shared struggle. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of fiery orange and deep purple, a sense of peace settled over Mark. He looked at Rusty, his loyal companion, his furry guardian angel, his heart filled with a profound gratitude for the dog's presence in his life. "Rusty," he whispered, his voice hoarse but filled with affection, "you're the best friend a man could ask for." Rusty, his tail wagging gently, licked Mark's hand, his gesture a silent affirmation of their bond, a promise of unwavering companionship in the face of adversity. And as the stars emerged, their twinkling lights a reminder of the vastness of the universe and the insignificance of their own struggles, Mark felt a sense of acceptance wash over him. He had faced death, stared into the abyss, and found solace in the companionship of a stray dog. He knew that his fate was uncertain, his survival hanging by a thread. But he also knew that he had lived a life filled with adventure, that he had faced challenges and embraced the unknown, that he had found a connection in the most unexpected of circumstances. He closed his eyes, his body weary, his spirit at peace, his heart filled with gratitude for the life he had lived and the bond he had forged with the dog who had shared his struggle, his loyal companion, his unlikely savior in the face of the wild. The silence of the night was shattered by a desperate cry, a mournful howl that echoed through the canyons of Yosemite. Rusty, his senses sharpened by the chilling sound, lifted his head, his ears perked, his eyes scanning the darkness, his instincts awakened by the call of his wild kin. He recognized the cry, a distress signal from a fellow canine, a plea for help that resonated deep within his soul. He felt a pull, a primal urge to answer the call, to offer aid, to fulfill the ancient pact of loyalty and protection that bound his species together. He looked at Mark, his human companion, his eyes filled with a mix of concern and determination. He whined softly, his body tensing, his tail wagging tentatively, his instincts battling with his newfound loyalty to the man who had shown him kindness. Mark, his senses dulled by exhaustion and the pain of his injuries, stirred from his restless sleep, his gaze meeting Rusty's, his brow furrowed with concern. He sensed the dog's agitation, the conflict raging within him, the pull of the wild calling him back to his roots. He reached out, his hand gently stroking Rusty's fur, his voice a soft murmur in the stillness. "What is it, boy?" he asked, his words laced with a weary understanding. "What do you hear?" Rusty, unable to articulate the urgency he felt, responded with a series of insistent barks, his body straining towards the edge of the ledge, his eyes pleading for Mark to understand. He then turned and took a hesitant step towards the precipice, his gaze fixed on the darkness below, his instincts urging him to answer the call of his kind. Mark, his heart sinking with the realization of Rusty's intentions, knew he couldn't hold him back. He had witnessed the dog's loyalty, his courage, his unwavering determination to protect him. He understood the pull of the wild, the primal instincts that bound Rusty to his heritage, the call of duty that echoed through his canine soul. He whispered a silent farewell, his voice choked with emotion, his heart heavy with the knowledge that he might never see his furry companion again. He watched as Rusty, his silhouette a dark shadow against the backdrop of the starry sky, disappeared over the edge of the ledge, his form fading into the vastness of the valley below. Rusty, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination, embarked on a treacherous descent, his paws finding purchase on the uneven rock face, his body a blur of motion in the darkness. He navigated the cliffs with an agility that belied his domesticated appearance, his instincts guiding his every move, his senses alert to the dangers that lurked in the shadows. He followed the sound of the cries, their urgency growing with each passing moment, their location leading him deeper into the heart of the wilderness. He leaped across crevices, his body suspended in midair, his landing a silent prayer for safe passage. He scrambled down steep slopes, his claws digging into the loose gravel, his muscles straining with the exertion. He navigated narrow ledges, his body hugging the rock face, his every movement a delicate dance with gravity. He was a creature of the wild, his spirit at one with the mountains, his instincts honed by generations of survival in the unforgiving terrain. He was on a mission, a quest to answer the call of his kind, to offer aid to those in need, to fulfill the ancient pact of loyalty and protection that bound him to his canine brethren. And as he descended deeper into the darkness, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination, he knew that he was not just a stray dog, but a guardian of the wild, a protector of those who ventured into its embrace, a beacon of hope in the face of adversity. The cries led Rusty to a hidden crevice, its entrance shrouded in darkness, its depths echoing with the sounds of distress. He paused at the edge, his senses alert, his body tense, his instincts warning him of potential danger. He cautiously entered the crevice, his paws treading softly on the uneven ground, his eyes adjusting to the dim light. The cries grew louder, their source now visible in the faint glow of the moon filtering through a crack in the rock ceiling. A small pack of coyotes, their fur matted and bloodied, huddled together, their whimpers a symphony of pain and fear. Rusty, his heart filled with compassion, approached them cautiously, his tail wagging gently, his presence a beacon of reassurance in their moment of despair. He recognized the alpha male, his once proud form now slumped against the rock wall, his leg twisted at an unnatural angle, his breathing labored. He saw the other members of the pack, their bodies bearing the marks of a recent struggle, their eyes filled with a mix of pain and gratitude for Rusty's arrival. Rusty, his instincts honed by his own experiences in the wild, assessed the situation quickly. The pack had been caught in a rockslide, their escape hampered by the alpha male's injury. They were trapped, their survival dependent on his ability to find help, to alert the human world to their plight. He knew he had to act quickly, their lives hanging in the balance. He looked back towards the entrance of the crevice, the faint glimmer of moonlight a beacon in the darkness. He remembered Mark, his human companion, his friend, stranded on the ledge high above. He felt a pang of guilt, a conflict between his loyalty to Mark and his instinctive urge to help his own kind. But he knew he couldn't abandon the pack, their cries for help echoing in his ears, their vulnerability mirroring his own experiences in the wild. He made a decision, a choice driven by compassion and a deep-seated sense of duty. He would help the pack, lead them to safety, and then return to Mark, his human friend, his promise of loyalty unwavering. He approached the alpha male, his gentle nudges and soft whimpers offering comfort and reassurance. He then turned towards the entrance of the crevice, his barks echoing through the darkness, his body language urging the pack to follow. The coyotes, their trust in Rusty evident in their hesitant movements, followed him, their injured leader limping along, their spirits lifted by the presence of their unexpected savior. They emerged from the crevice, the cool night air a welcome relief against their battered bodies, the moonlight guiding their path through the wilderness. Rusty, his senses alert, led them towards a familiar trail, his instincts guiding them towards safety, his heart filled with a renewed determination to fulfill his mission. He would lead the pack to a safe haven, a place where they could heal and recover, and then he would return to Mark, his human companion, his promise of loyalty unwavering. And as they journeyed through the moonlit forest, their silhouettes a testament to the resilience of the wild, their bond a beacon of hope in the face of adversity, Rusty knew that he was not just a stray dog, but a guardian of the wilderness, a protector of his kind, a creature whose loyalty and courage transcended the boundaries of species. The moon cast long, dancing shadows across the forest floor as Rusty led the pack of coyotes through the undergrowth. Their journey was slow, hampered by the alpha male's injured leg, but their spirits were lifted by the promise of safety and the comforting presence of their unexpected guide. Rusty, his senses alert, navigated the familiar terrain, his keen nose sniffing out the safest paths, his ears attuned to any sounds that might signal danger. He led them through dense thickets, their branches scratching at their fur, their leaves whispering secrets in the night. He guided them across gurgling streams, their icy waters chilling their paws, their currents a test of their strength and resilience. He led them towards a hidden clearing, its moonlit expanse a haven of tranquility amidst the rugged wilderness. As they emerged from the tree-line, a figure stepped out from the shadows, his presence startling the weary pack. It was a young woman, her form silhouetted against the moonlight, her face obscured by the darkness. Rusty, his instincts momentarily heightened, let out a low growl, his body tensing, his protective instincts kicking in. But as the woman stepped closer, her voice a soft murmur in the stillness, her hand reaching out in a gesture of peace, his apprehension subsided. "Hello there," she said, her voice carrying a gentle warmth that calmed the pack's fears. "Who are you, little ones? And where are you going?" Rusty, unable to articulate their plight, responded with a series of soft whimpers and insistent nudges, his body language urging her to follow, his eyes pleading for her understanding. The woman, her heart touched by their vulnerability, her curiosity piqued by their unusual presence, decided to trust her instincts. She was Sarah, a park ranger with a deep love for the wilderness and its inhabitants, her heart attuned to the subtle rhythms of nature, her senses alert to the whispers of distress that often echoed through the vast expanse of Yosemite. She had been patrolling the trails, her presence a reassurance to those who ventured into the wild. She had encountered lost hikers, injured climbers, and distressed animals, her training and experience guiding her actions, her compassion a driving force in her dedication to protecting the park and its visitors. She looked at Rusty, his insistent nudges and pleading eyes stirring a sense of urgency within her. She decided to trust her instincts, to follow this unlikely guide, to see where his desperate pleas would lead her. "Show me the way, boy," she said, her voice filled with a gentle determination. "Lead me to where you need to go." Rusty, his tail wagging excitedly, his heart filled with gratitude for her understanding, turned and led the way, the pack following closely behind, their trust in him unwavering. They traversed the moonlit meadows, their footsteps muffled by the soft earth, their shadows dancing alongside them like silent companions. Sarah, her heart pounding with a mix of apprehension and curiosity, followed closely, her senses alert, her mind filled with questions. Who were these creatures that had emerged from the darkness? What was their story? And where were they going? She watched as Rusty led them towards a secluded den, hidden amongst the rocks and trees, its entrance a dark maw that promised shelter and safety. She saw the alpha male limping, his injured leg a testament to their struggle for survival. She understood then. They were a pack of coyotes seeking refuge, their leader injured, their vulnerability evident in their weary movements. And Rusty, the stray dog with the kind heart and unwavering loyalty, had become their unlikely savior, his presence a beacon of hope in their time of need. Sarah, her compassion ignited, knew she had to help. She would ensure their safety, provide them with the care they needed, and then, perhaps, she would learn the story of the dog who had led them to her, the dog who had defied the boundaries of species to answer the call of the wild. Sarah, guided by Rusty and the limping alpha male, followed the pack deep into the den. The air grew thick with the musky scent of coyote, the darkness illuminated only by the faint moonlight filtering through cracks in the rock ceiling. She moved cautiously, her senses heightened, aware of the wildness surrounding her, yet feeling a strange sense of calm emanating from Rusty. The den opened into a small chamber, a natural haven lined with soft moss and dry leaves. The injured alpha lay whimpering softly, his pack gathered around him, their eyes reflecting a mixture of pain and anxiety. Sarah, her heart aching for their plight, knelt beside the alpha, her touch gentle as she assessed his injuries. Years of experience as a park ranger had equipped her with basic veterinary knowledge. She recognized the telltale signs of a fractured leg, the swelling and unnatural angle a clear indication of the severity of the injury. She knew she couldn't mend the bone in this makeshift setting, but she could offer comfort and temporary relief. "Easy now," she soothed, her voice a calming presence in the tense atmosphere. "I'm here to help." From her backpack, she retrieved a first aid kit, her movements efficient and practiced. She gently cleaned the wound, her touch eliciting a whimper from the alpha. But his pack mates seemed to sense her good intentions, their growls subsiding as they watched her work. She carefully splinted the leg with branches and strips of cloth torn from her shirt, her makeshift solution a testament to her resourcefulness and dedication. The alpha, his pain somewhat eased, licked her hand in gratitude, a gesture that surprised and touched Sarah. She then turned her attention to the rest of the pack, finding minor cuts and scrapes, evidence of their struggle in the rockslide. She treated their wounds, her gentle touch a balm to their battered bodies, her presence a source of comfort in their hidden sanctuary. As she worked, she observed Rusty, his demeanor a stark contrast to the wary nature of his wild kin. He moved among the pack with a quiet confidence, his tail wagging gently, his presence a calming influence on the anxious coyotes. He would nudge Sarah's hand occasionally, as if offering encouragement, his eyes filled with a deep trust and understanding. Sarah, her curiosity piqued by his unusual behavior, felt a growing connection to this remarkable dog. She knew he was more than just a stray who had stumbled upon the injured pack. There was an intelligence, a purposefulness in his actions that hinted at a deeper story, a hidden history that she was determined to uncover. She spent the rest of the night in the den, sharing her meager rations with the pack, her presence a reassurance that they were not alone. She watched as the coyotes gradually relaxed, their initial fear replaced by a cautious acceptance of her presence, their trust in Rusty extending to her. As dawn broke, casting a pale light through the cracks in the cave ceiling, Sarah knew she had to return to her duties, to report the incident, and to arrange for the proper care of the injured alpha. She looked at Rusty, her voice filled with gratitude and a hint of sadness. "I have to go, boy," she said, her hand gently stroking his fur. "But I'll be back, I promise." Rusty, his eyes reflecting her sincerity, nuzzled her hand, his gesture a silent understanding of her departure and a promise of his continued loyalty. He would remain with the pack, his presence a comfort, his instincts a guide, until she returned. Sarah emerged from the den, the morning sun greeting her with a warm embrace. She looked back at the hidden sanctuary, her heart filled with a mix of concern and admiration for the creatures she had left behind. She knew that their fate was uncertain, their survival dependent on her ability to bring them help. But she also knew that she had found a connection, a bond with a remarkable dog whose loyalty and compassion had led her to this hidden corner of the wilderness. She would return, she would help them, and she would unravel the mystery of Rusty's past, a story that seemed intertwined with the very essence of the wild. Sarah hurried back to the ranger station, her mind racing with the events of the night. She reported the injured coyote pack and their unlikely guardian, Rusty, to her superiors. Her story was met with a mix of concern and admiration, her colleagues recognizing the inherent danger of the situation and the compassion she had shown in aiding the wild animals. A rescue mission was quickly organized. A team of experienced rangers and a veterinarian assembled to retrieve the injured alpha and assess the condition of the pack. Sarah, her knowledge of the den's location invaluable, volunteered to guide the team, her concern for Rusty and the coyotes overriding any lingering fatigue. They set off, their vehicles navigating the winding mountain roads, their headlights cutting through the morning mist, their destination a hidden sanctuary deep within the wilderness. Sarah, her heart pounding with anticipation, rode with the veterinarian, Dr. Emily Carter, their conversation a mix of professional assessment and shared admiration for Rusty's actions. Dr. Carter, a woman with a kind face and gentle hands, had dedicated her life to caring for the animals of Yosemite. She had treated countless injured creatures, her expertise a testament to her years of experience and her deep love for the wild. She listened intently as Sarah recounted her encounter with Rusty and the coyote pack, her curiosity piqued by the dog's unusual behavior. "It's not every day you see a stray dog leading a pack of coyotes," she remarked, her voice filled with a mix of wonder and admiration. "There must be a special bond there, a connection that transcends their differences." Sarah, her own thoughts echoing Dr. Carter's sentiments, nodded in agreement. She shared her observations of Rusty's behavior, his gentle nature, his protective instincts, his apparent leadership within the pack. "He seems to be more than just a stray," she said, her voice filled with a sense of wonder. "There's something special about him, something that sets him apart." As they reached the den, the rescue team sprang into action. They carefully navigated the treacherous terrain, their movements cautious but efficient, their expertise honed by years of experience in wilderness rescue operations. They reached the den's entrance, their voices hushed, their presence a respectful intrusion into the wild sanctuary. Sarah, her heart pounding with anticipation, led the way, her flashlight beam illuminating the darkness, her footsteps guiding the team towards the injured alpha and his pack. They found the coyotes huddled together, their eyes reflecting the light, their bodies tense with a mix of fear and curiosity. Rusty, his tail wagging gently, greeted Sarah with a soft whimper, his eyes filled with a trusting recognition. He then turned towards the alpha, his presence a calming influence on the anxious pack. Dr. Carter, her gentle touch and soothing voice offering reassurance, examined the alpha, her practiced hands assessing the extent of his injuries. She confirmed the fracture, her prognosis guarded but hopeful. With the help of the rangers, she carefully immobilized the leg, her expertise a testament to her dedication to healing and preserving life. The alpha, his pain somewhat eased, licked her hand in gratitude, his gesture a mirror to the trust and affection he had shown Sarah. The rest of the pack, their anxiety subsiding, watched the proceedings with a cautious curiosity, their acceptance of the human presence a testament to Rusty's influence and the shared understanding that had developed within their unlikely alliance. The rangers, their movements efficient and respectful, prepared the alpha for transport, their stretcher a lifeline in the wilderness, their expertise a beacon of hope for the injured creature. They carried him out of the den, their footsteps careful and deliberate, their voices hushed as they navigated the treacherous terrain. Sarah, her heart filled with a mix of relief and sadness, watched as they carried the alpha away, his fate now entrusted to the care of the veterinarian and the healing power of nature. She turned to Rusty, her voice filled with gratitude and admiration. "You did good, boy. she said, her hand gently stroking his fur. "You saved them." Rusty, his tail wagging softly, nuzzled her hand, his eyes reflecting a deep understanding of her words, his presence a testament to the enduring power of connection and the unwavering loyalty that could exist between humans and animals. As the rescue team departed, their presence fading into the wilderness, Sarah lingered, her gaze fixed on the remaining pack, their eyes watching her with a mix of curiosity and trust. She knew that their story was far from over, that their survival in the wild was still uncertain. But she also knew that she had been touched by their resilience, their bond with Rusty, their acceptance of her help. She would continue to monitor their progress, to offer assistance when needed, to ensure their well-being in the face of the challenges that lay ahead. And as she turned to leave, her footsteps echoing through the silent forest, she felt a renewed sense of purpose, her heart filled with a deep respect for the creatures that inhabited the wild, her spirit forever connected to the dog who had led her to this hidden corner of the wilderness and shown her the enduring power of compassion and loyalty. Back at the ranger station, Sarah couldn't shake the image of Rusty from her mind. His intelligence, his courage, his almost human-like understanding of the situation with the coyotes. It all pointed to something more than just a lucky stray. She decided to delve deeper, to uncover the truth behind this remarkable dog. She started by checking the records of lost and found pets in the park, but no reports matched Rusty's description. She then contacted local animal shelters and rescue organizations, hoping someone might recognize him. One shelter, nestled in a small town just outside the park boundaries, had a record of a dog matching Rusty's description brought in a few months prior. The record, however, was sparse. He had been found wandering near a hiking trail, seemingly abandoned, with no collar or identification. The staff had named him Rusty due to the reddish-brown patches on his coat, and he had been adopted shortly after by a family who lived in a nearby town. Sarah, her curiosity piqued, decided to visit the family, hoping they might shed some light on Rusty's past. She found the family, the Millers, in their cozy home nestled amidst the pines. They welcomed her with warm smiles and introduced her to Rusty, who greeted her with enthusiastic barks and wagging tail, his joy at seeing her again evident in his bright eyes. The Millers, a kind and loving couple with a deep affection for animals, shared their experiences with Rusty. They spoke of his gentle nature, his intelligence, his quick learning, and his uncanny ability to sense their emotions. "He's a special dog," Mrs. Miller said, her voice filled with warmth. "He seems to understand things that other dogs don't. He's almost human." Mr. Miller nodded in agreement. "He's got a knack for knowing when someone's feeling down," he added. "He'll just come and sit by them, his head on their lap, his eyes filled with concern. It's like he can sense their emotions." Sarah, listening intently, felt a growing sense of wonder. Rusty's behavior, his empathy, his intelligence, it all pointed to something extraordinary. She asked the Millers if they had any idea about his origins, his past before he came into their lives. Mr. Miller shook his head. "We found him at the shelter," he explained. "They didn't know much about him, just that he was found wandering in the park." Sarah, her curiosity now a burning ember, thanked the Millers for their time and bid them farewell. She returned to the ranger station, her mind buzzing with questions, her determination to uncover Rusty's past now a driving force. She delved into the park archives, her research leading her to old newspaper articles, faded photographs, and forgotten stories of Yosemite's history. She stumbled upon an article from decades past, its headline proclaiming the heroic actions of a search and rescue dog named Champ, a legendary canine who had saved countless lives in the treacherous terrain of the park. The article described Champ's exceptional skills, his ability to navigate the cliffs, his keen sense of smell that could locate lost hikers, his unwavering courage in the face of danger. A photograph accompanied the article, a grainy image of a proud German shepherd with a distinctive patch of white fur on his chest. Sarah's heart skipped a beat as she recognized the familiar markings, the same patch of white fur that adorned Rusty's chest. A wave of realization washed over her, the pieces of the puzzle falling into place. Rusty, with his intelligence, his courage, his uncanny ability to sense danger and guide those in need, was a descendant of Champ, the legendary search and rescue dog. She felt a surge of admiration for the dog who had saved Mark's life. His heroism a legacy passed down through generations. His instincts a testament to the enduring power of breeding and the unwavering spirit of those who dedicated their lives to service and protection. She knew she had to share this discovery with Mark, to reveal the truth about his furry savior, to connect him to the legacy that had saved his life. She imagined the joy and wonder in Mark's eyes, the bond between him and Rusty deepening with the knowledge of the dog's extraordinary heritage. And as she set out to find Mark, her heart filled with a sense of purpose, she knew that their story, a testament to the courage, resilience, and enduring power of connection, would become a part of Yosemite's lore, a tale whispered around campfires, a reminder of the extraordinary bond between humans and animals, and the legacy of heroism that echoed through the generations. Mark, his body slowly mending, his spirit still reeling from the ordeal on El Capitan, sat on the porch of his cabin, the warmth of the afternoon sun, a welcome contrast to the chilling memories of his near-death experience. Rusty, his loyal companion, lay curled up at his feet, his presence a comforting reassurance, his soft snores a lullaby in the quiet mountain air. Mark's gaze drifted towards the towering granite cliffs that dominated the horizon, their majestic presence a reminder of the challenges he had faced, the vulnerability he had experienced, the gratitude he felt for the dog who had saved his life. He thought of Rusty's unwavering loyalty, his courage in the face of danger, his instinctive ability to navigate the treacherous terrain and seek help. He marveled at the dog's intelligence, his empathy, his unwavering dedication to his human companion. He couldn't help but wonder about Rusty's past, the life he had led before their fateful encounter on the cliff face. He had learned from the shelter staff that Rusty was a stray, his origins unknown, his history a mystery. But there was something about the dog, a certain intelligence and resilience, that hinted at a deeper story, a hidden past that had shaped his remarkable character. Just as his thoughts drifted towards the mysteries surrounding Rusty's origins, a figure emerged from the treeline, its familiar uniform a beacon of authority and reassurance. It was Sarah, the park ranger who had been a part of his rescue team, her presence now a welcome reminder of the human connection that had pulled him back from the brink. She greeted him with a warm smile, her eyes reflecting a genuine concern for his well-being. "Mark," she said, her voice carrying a gentle warmth. "How are you feeling?" Mark, his heart filled with gratitude for her kindness and her role in his rescue, responded with a sincere appreciation. "I'm doing much better, thanks to you and the team," he said, his voice still carrying a hint of the trauma he had endured. "And thanks to Rusty, of course." He gestured towards the dog, who had risen to his feet, his tail wagging excitedly at the sight of Sarah. "He's been my constant companion, my shadow, my furry guardian angel." Sarah smiled, her eyes twinkling with a knowing glint. "I believe it," she said, her voice laced with a hint of mystery. "He's a remarkable dog, Mark. More remarkable than you might realize." She sat down beside him, her presence a comforting reassurance, her words carrying a weight that piqued Mark's curiosity. She began to recount her own encounter with Rusty, her voice filled with a mix of wonder and admiration as she described his heroic actions in guiding her to the injured coyote pack. She spoke of his intelligence, his courage, his instinctive ability to navigate the treacherous terrain and lead her to those in need. She shared her research into his past, her discovery of the old newspaper article, the faded photograph of Champ, the legendary search and rescue dog, the striking resemblance that had revealed Rusty's lineage. Mark, his heart pounding with a mix of disbelief and awe, listened intently, his gaze fixed on Rusty, who seemed to sense the significance of their conversation. His ears perked, his eyes reflecting the flickering flames of the fireplace. He couldn't believe it. Rusty, the stray dog who had saved his life, was a descendant of a legendary hero, his bloodline carrying the legacy of courage and loyalty that had echoed through generations. He felt a surge of gratitude for the dog, his bond with Rusty deepening with the knowledge of his extraordinary heritage. He looked at Sarah, his voice filled with emotion. "I had no idea," he said, his words barely a whisper. He's incredible." Sarah nodded, her smile warm and reassuring. "He is," she agreed. "He's a testament to the enduring power of instinct, the legacy of heroism, and the unwavering bond between humans and animals." She reached out, her hand gently resting on Rusty's head, her touch a shared acknowledgement of the dog's extraordinary spirit. "He's a true hero, Mark," she said, her voice filled with admiration. "And he's yours." Mark, his heart overflowing with gratitude and affection, looked at Rusty, his eyes meeting the dog's gaze, their connection a silent testament to the bond they had forged, the shared experience that had changed their lives forever. He knew that their journey together had just begun, a new chapter unfolding, filled with the promise of companionship, adventure, and the enduring legacy of a dog who had defied the odds, answered the call of the wild, and become the savior of a desperate climber stranded on a perilous cliff. The revelation of Rusty's lineage brought a renewed sense of purpose to Mark's life. He saw in Rusty not just a loyal companion, but a living testament to the heroic spirit of his ancestors, a descendant of a lineage dedicated to service and protection. He vowed to honor Rusty's heritage, to nurture his instincts, and to provide him with opportunities to fulfill his potential. He enrolled Rusty in advanced obedience training, where the dog's intelligence and eagerness to learn impressed even the most seasoned instructors. They worked together, their bond deepening with each mastered command, each successful exercise a testament to their shared understanding and mutual respect. Rusty excelled in agility courses, his athleticism and grace a marvel to behold. He mastered tracking and search techniques, his keen senses and unwavering focus a testament to his innate abilities. Mark, his own passion for adventure rekindled, began to explore new avenues for Rusty's talents. He contacted local search and rescue organizations. His inquiries met with enthusiastic interest. Rusty's lineage, his intelligence, and his natural abilities made him a prime candidate for joining their ranks. He underwent rigorous training, his skills honed under the guidance of experienced handlers, his natural instincts sharpened by the challenges of simulated rescue scenarios. He learned to navigate treacherous terrain, to locate hidden individuals, to provide comfort and support to those in need. He excelled in his training, his performance exceeding expectations, his dedication to his human partners a testament to his loyalty and his innate desire to serve. He became a valued member of the search and rescue team, his presence a beacon of hope in the face of disaster, his skills a lifeline to those stranded in the wilderness. Mark, his heart swelling with pride, watched as Rusty participated in rescue missions, his courage and determination a reflection of the heroic legacy that flowed through his veins. He saw Rusty navigate treacherous cliffs, his movements a blur of agility and grace, his barks echoing through the mountains, guiding rescuers to those in need. He witnessed Rusty comforting lost hikers, his presence a calming reassurance, his warmth a beacon of hope in the face of fear and uncertainty. He saw Rusty locate individuals buried beneath the snow, his keen sense of smell leading him to their hidden location, his powerful paws digging through the debris to reveal their fragile forms. And with each successful mission, with each life saved, with each grateful embrace from those he had rescued, Mark felt a profound sense of fulfillment, a recognition that Rusty was fulfilling his destiny, honoring the legacy of his ancestors, and making a difference in the world. He continued to climb, his passion for the mountains undiminished by his near-death experience. But now he climbed with a renewed perspective, his appreciation for the fragility of life tempered by his gratitude for Rusty's presence, his connection to the wilderness deepened by their shared experiences. They would often climb together, their figures silhouetted against the majestic backdrop of Yosemite's granite cliffs, their bond a testament to the enduring power of connection and the unwavering spirit of adventure. Rusty, his instincts guiding their ascent, would alert Mark to potential dangers, his presence a reassuring constant in the face of the unknown. And as they stood together on the summit, their gazes sweeping across the breathtaking panorama, their hearts filled with a shared sense of triumph and gratitude, they knew that their journey together had just begun, a testament to the enduring power of friendship, loyalty, and the unwavering spirit that bound them together in the face of adversity.